Okay, this one might get me into a bit of trouble, but genetics are rather interesting. Um, I know a lot of people say you can't choose your family, you can choose your friends. I think it's a load of bollocks. Um, because frankly, you can. Families are the hardest thing on the planet. We all know it, we've all been there. Families are incredible. Your parents are lovely, siblings, nieces, nephews, kids, your partner. We love them all. Aunts, uncles, grandparents. And we all sit there and we all look at the pictures and we think, do you know what? I love them all. They're all great from a distance. And we all think, yeah, I'm really close to this one and I'm really close to that one. And yeah, I love that one. And yeah, I love that one. And yeah, okay. That one's better off over there. And we all kind of do it in our own weird ways. And some of us have super big families, and some of us have families that are like really, really small. So there's hardly any of you. But when your family is toxic, and there are far more toxic families out there than we like to admit, this concept of not being able to choose your family really does come into play. Because you can turn around and say, do you know what? You're toxic. You're destroying my mental health. I can't be around you anymore. And as hard as it is, and it is hard, and I'm not going to turn around and say, oh yeah, well, just walk away from these toxic people because they're destroying you. They're your family. And as weird as a concept as it is, when you are genetically, DNA, blood, when that connection is there, even if you don't spend a lot of time with them, even if you rarely talk to them, even if there's you don't like them that much, actually having the guts to turn around and say, I'm done, I'm over it, I don't want to spend any more time with you, I can't do this anymore, is not always the easiest thing we can do. And it's even harder when you've been adopted into a family who then becomes toxic, or even fostered into a family that you then stay with from a young age, who you don't get adopted, but you actually end up connecting with, and they keep you. And that sounds like a really strange thing. I'm going to keep you, but you end up in a foster family that actually loves you enough to say, do you know what, stay with us until you're 18 and we're going to treat you like family and we can be there for you. And then not only do you stay there till you're 18, but you actually become part of the family, in essence, so that you're there past the age of 18, right through to your adult life. And, you're treated as a member of the family, as one of the siblings. And then when your kid is born, if you have children, your child is treated as one of the grandkids, as one of the nieces or nephews. And then all of a sudden you realise later down the line that something's not quite right. You're so used to being around these people, you're so used to being so grateful for what they've done by taking you in. And then all of a sudden you stepped back, had a family of your own, had kids, and you're not there so much. You're not in their faces, you're not part of their lives as often as you used to be. And all of a sudden, other traits are coming out in them, or things that you hadn't noticed or didn't want to notice, that you realised were quite toxic. And all of a sudden, all those little niggly feelings that you had, all those niggly thoughts that you had where you just thought, you brushed aside because you thought, no, that can't be right. You're treating me like I'm nothing, or something's wrong here, but no, I'm going to ignore it because they love me. They wouldn't have let me stay. They wouldn't have, I wouldn't be here if, all those kind of thoughts that you'd pushed aside. have become back to the forefront, and this time you couldn't ignore them. Yeah, and you realised they were actually quite toxic, because all of a sudden, that as grateful as you are and as amazing as you felt and as loving as you thought they were, because actually you actually do love these people as if they were DNA, as if they were bloodline, as if they were actual family. You realise that they're not what they seemed, and they're actually a little toxic. And you realise that you really aren't the family to them. You were just some kid they picked up and kept. And I'm not saying that happens to everybody, but it can happen. And you have to make a very difficult decision then as to whether or not you have the strength to turn around and say, but I love them, they're my family, they're the only family you've really ever known. Can you get up and turn around and say, I can't do that, and walk away? See, there are people in my life who have been or are in that situation, or in a situation very similar to that. It's not quite the same as that, but it's very similar to that situation. And they are struggling to walk away from that. They understand the situation they're in, and it's killing them. But they are not capable right now of turning around and saying, I'm done, I've got to walk away, it's over. Because that's their family, it's all they've ever known. And I've had to as well walk away from family because some of my family members are toxic, completely toxic. And I've had to turn around and go, do you know what, I'm done. No, I'm just done. I can't do this anymore. I'm over it. I'm just over it. I'm done. And that was really difficult, because I knew that by doing that, it would go against everything that I believed in, because my family was so important to me. And by turning around and walking away from them, it was like I was tearing out a piece of me. And that's the hardest thing I have had to do, especially lately, was to turn around and walk away from them. But we do have that choice. Because family isn't just blood, it isn't just DNA, it isn't just genetics. Your family are those that love you, support you, are there for you. They're those that you love, that you support, and that you are there for. They're the ones that nobody will, they're the ones that you can call anytime. They're the ones that they will never judge, that don't ever care about your past. They don't deal with any of that shit. It's like, you've made hundreds of mistakes, I've made hundreds of mistakes. I'm not going to hold anything against you, you're not going to hold anything against me. We're going to deal with all this shit. I'm going to deal with all yours, you're going to deal with all mine. And we're going to laugh about everything else because it's just funny. And if anybody ever messes with any one of us, we're going to have each other's backs. And we're going to be there for each other, no matter what. And even if we don't speak to each other for like months on end because life's gotten in the way, the second we do speak, that's fine. We're not going to hold anything against each other, because fuck, We're just going to get together, we're going to have a few drinks, we're going to pretend like we haven't not spoken for months on end, and we're going to catch up, and we're going to have a good laugh, and we're going to deal with life. We're going to deal with the present day, and whatever the fuck is going on with the rest of the world can go screw itself. Because that's what family does. Family doesn't care what's happening to the rest of the world. They care about what's happening with you. They care about you and you alone. They care about having fun with you and the kids. And it doesn't matter if it's the grocery shop owner down the street, or your next door neighbour, or, I don't know, your kid's best friend. Family is what you make it. They're the people you can turn to when everything else fucking falls apart. Or when the best things in life are happening, they're the ones you turn to first, because you want to share that news with them before you share it with anybody else. So you can choose your family. Genetics, DNA, they mean fuck all. Because all that does is build you as a person. Makes you an actual whole person. Makes you a human being. That's all that genetics does. It's all that DNA does. It gives you your eye colour, your hair, your nose, height, whether you're going to be broad-shouldered, stick-thin, going to have weird feet, it doesn't matter. That's all it does. It doesn't mean that they're family. It just means that they created a human being. So the next time somebody turns around to you and say, well, you can't choose your family, say, yeah, I can. I can definitely do that. Unless you're toxic and not helping me or my mental health or my physical health, because if you are in need of actual help and they're supposed to be taking care of you and they're not doing that either, because there are so many people like that too, who actually are reliant on family members to take physical care of them because they're incapable of doing it for themselves for many, many reasons, whether it be for health reasons or for a physical deformity, or because they've been away at war, come back and something's happened to them, and they need care and attention and they're not giving them that. Yeah, you can. You can find someone else to help you. You can make a phone call, or you can get somebody else to make a phone call. You can ask for help and go, do you know what? You're not doing your job. You're not helping me at all. You're supposed to love me and care for me, and you're not. I need to find someone else who will. You can do that. You can definitely do that. Okay? So you can choose family. You just got to be brave enough to. And that's not always easy. Trust me. It's taken, 10 years for me to do that? Anyway, I'm going to go. Bye.